Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you all doing well. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down and Shut Up. And today we got Schmiddy, so let's bring him on. Hey, Schmiddy, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad.
Not too bad, huh? All right, cool. So, tell me a little bit what's been going on, man. You know, you mentioned you were kind of struggling a little bit of a slump, maybe. What's been going on for you?
Yeah, so that's a lot of it. Like there was some external factors in my personal life that definitely factored, but during that time, like it's just felt like whenever I play, there's a lot of like execution errors and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly my questions are around like how do you focus on getting better when you're in a situation where you're not at your best,
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
and
And
also just kind of like how to identify in replays like how to find a common theme across replays rather than because like I get focused on like one thing that happened,
mhm.
and then if I fix that one thing there's still the other stuff, so like how to find maybe a theme or something to work on.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that stuff. I think kind of, Street Fighter 6 is like it's a lot of peaks and valleys, right? There are definitely times where you feel like you're on top of the world, everything is working, firing all cylinders. And then there are other times where it feels like you're kind of stuck in second gear, right? Where it's like, oh, no matter what I do, I feel like I get hit. No matter what I kind of guess, it's always wrong, right? So, yeah, we can
Yeah,
talk about that and see. There have definitely been some things that helped me in the past for this type of thing, but it is definitely a very like personal thing. I think in terms of like what will help you or potentially could help you may not be what would have helped me and vice versa, right? So
yeah,
that said, I think what we could do is we can hop into a custom room here, play a couple of games, run the first of three, same old, and then we'll kind of see where your gameplay is at, and then go from there. So
sounds good.
get you.
And yeah,
Okay.
I did play like a longer set against AZ Young,
Mm-hmm.
and it like I actually did all right. um
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it felt like my decision making is fine. It's really just like moment to moment stuff where I'm struggling,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
like
AC Young is a
execution.
really pretty strong Ryu, right? So
Yeah, he
playing
hit
against him.
1800 recently.
Yeah, I know, right? And I didn't realize that, and I played him, and I was like, "Wait, why does he have that badge on?"
Yeah.
It's a little intimidating. So okay, cool. So I think you know the drill, but just for the purpose of the stream, I'll mention it again. Basically, what we'll do is run the first three, kind of get a sense of where you're at, what you're struggling with, maybe. After that, we'll do a little replay review, take a look at one of our games, and you sent me some replays as well, so we'll take a look at one of those. If there's any specific situations we want to take a look at in depth, we'll hop in the lab, take a look at that. And then afterwards, if there's time, we can run the first three. So if that all sounds good to you, go ahead and hop into a slot, and I'll go from
Yeah,
there.
sounds
So
good.
like I usually say, I'm going to deafen during this part, so I don't impact anything you're doing. I also may not
Yeah.
rematch right away, just as I continue to talk on stream. So that all said, good luck.
Yep.
Hey, IO, how's it going? So Schmidty, I think they've been on a couple of times, maybe more than once. I don't remember all of them, but we'll see what's going on with their gameplay. They've been playing pretty well recently, though, so see what's been going on. Okay, playing some neutrals. Let's take the turn back immediately. Oh. See ranked games. I think I played maybe one. Was I 1590 when I played UI? I don't remember. I don't think I played ranked, actually, when I think about it. That's 1500. It's 1590. I think it always says 1500 when the opponent is not in master yet. So it just says master. Oh, it's a bad whiff. Okay, a little too active on defense. Oh yeah, he stopped. Giving up a lot of space here, right? Oh no. Okay, so game one, really what I noticed is that they were giving up some space in neutral, right? They were contesting me pretty well at the beginning, and then once they kind of got hit a couple of times, they started being a little bit more passive overall in neutral, right? Like they're giving up a lot of space. And then when they got into the corner, they started being really active on defense, right? You saw how many delay techs they did. Right, play a little pressure here. Let's see what happens. Right. Nice. Oh, that was an unfortunate whiff for them. Yeah, very active on defense. You know, they're doing a lot of delayed techs here, so Shimmy's obviously beating them here. What I would say really, though, in neutral is they're really trying to not whiff buttons, which is good. But I think, like, I don't know how to describe this. They're really trying to contest me in neutral, right, which is good. So I don't think they're playing poorly here. The issue had been so far, at least where all my damage is coming in, has mostly been on defensive decisions on wake up, right? Oh, ow, my dome. Right, letting me out there. Ah! No! I should have sent the super. What am I doing? I can't believe I dropped that. That's actually pretty annoying. Uh-oh. Oh, that was nice. Nice delay. Uh-oh. I'm dead, right? Yeah, that super cost me. So so what I'm seeing so far in the gameplay, right? Neutral wise has been mostly okay, right? They're able to contest. You can see me trying to hit buttons and I'm getting counter hit, so it means like I need to change my timings. Hey, Kamisha, what's good? But I think like really where they've been kind of struggling seems like in the decision making. Oh shit. On defense. Oh, not teching anymore. Oh, good DP. Oh, that was sick. Hey, Flash. Oh, they're beating the delay medium with a walk back. It's pretty good. That's a good route. Healing? Yeah. Man, that meter is so much. Alright, so my delay weak up medium has been getting blown up, right? So that's good. So they obviously made an adjustment to what I was doing on defense, which is good. So again, I feel like really where their decision making was poor initially was in the defense situations where they had to do like a wake up. But I think they played neutral fine. See if we can get them to tech again. Yeah. So again, defensive decision making here is really where I think they're struggling. Neutral wise has been fine, right? They've been able to contest me perfectly fine. Otherwise. Oh, nice. Oh, that's an unfortunate drop. Oh, no. So, again, I think it's just like they kind of got stuck in autopilot on defense there. They lose 1 or 2 neutral interactions, they kind of get flustered, I think, and just kept teching. So if they stop teching, I think they'll be fine. Oh, that pickup was sick. Oh, they're afraid to tech now? Oh, got caught looking for the wake up crouching medium punch, or sorry, the delay wake up medium punch, I think. Try to space that out. So I sent a crouching medium kick instead. Worked out. Oh, that was sick. Oh, I could have won it there, huh? Oh, what? My cancel didn't come out. So again, I think they play fine. It's really just like some of the decision making points in on defense. Really, I thought the neutral was pretty good otherwise. So let's bring him back on. Hey, buddy, what do you think?
I need to take the throw more.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah. um, yeah, I thought you were playing fine. Honestly, a lot of where I was really getting you was really in that defensive situation where you felt compelled to tech for whatever reason, right? Like you selected delay
Yeah.
tech or instant tech, maybe close to half the time, right? Maybe more.
Yeah.
I'm not, for those situations. So that's really the main thing that's where I was getting most of my damage, right? In neutral, I think you play fine. I think you understand Elena's ranges, and I think you understand Ken's ranges pretty well. I just managed to win maybe half of the interaction, so like I think it was pretty even overall. The difference being that on like in Oki situations, I was getting opened up maybe a little bit less, right? Or maybe you're getting opened up more, however you want to look at that. But that was majority of my damage, right? Because Ken doesn't do a ton of mid-screen damage, right? All of his damage mostly
Yeah.
comes from like corner situations, right? Elena has some pretty good conversions, which you were able to land pretty well, right? So it's like you were able to effectively use buttons to create spacings that would blow me up, right? And we can take a look at one of the games, and we'll take a look at that. So let me share my screen in Discord here, and then we can take a look at one of these replays.
For what it's worth, this is maybe one of the first times I beat you during the first set, like at all.
Maybe. I mean, everyone's been getting so good lately, and it's funny because I think a lot of folks that have been on here before, they come back, a few months later, and it's just like it's so much different now, right? Like the gameplay is so much different and all that, which I don't know. It's a good thing. People are getting better and leveling up, right? So, that all said, let's get one of these. I want to look at. I think it was this one. So I'll look at the one where you won, and the reason I want to look at this is I want to highlight some of the things that you were doing well, and I think there might be some mistakes here too. But let's take a look. The main thing that I really liked though was how well you're playing kind of the neutral game, right? You're a little more patient in games 3 and 4 versus sort of games 1 and 2, right? Like game 1, I think you're a little jittery. You're trying to press a bunch of buttons. You got whiff punished a little bit, and then you kind of settled in, right? So let's take a look at this game here. All right, I missed my jump in. I missed my anti-air. Let's take advantage. All right, so here, right? This is a pretty good situation for you, right? Not teching there is good. All right. Right, so this type of spacing and this situation here, right? Like you were talking about how you're kind of struggling with stuff, but I think you do this very well, right? Which is you're able to kind of, once I'm cornered here, you're able to kind of force a situation where I felt like I had to press, right? Like that right there. Like I was trying to catch potentially the startup of something. If I got you, I was kind of, what I want to say is I was trying to read your tempo, right? Like what you were trying to do here, right? And you're at a spacing where if you had pressed anything at that point, this might have been able to counter hit you, right? Because it's crouch medium punch, 6 frames, kind of fast, right? So that's what I'm trying to do here. But instead you space trap me, right? And you actually, I would argue this is pretty close to a whiff punish, right? You see me whiff this button, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. Like this is a pretty good, if this is a reaction from you, it's pretty good, is what I'm getting at.
It
right?
actually was, yeah.
So that's what I mean, right? Is that like there's stuff like this that you do well, right? And it's easy to react to this when you're standing at a spacing where it's easy to react to it, right? Like if you see me do anything and it whiffs, you just press, right? And you're able to convert, right?
That's basically what you taught me last time we did this.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, right? Is that like you were able to implement that, right? So I should be dead here, and then
I should have spent super.
Well, maybe, right? Like would have made sense, probably, and you could have gotten the win. And I think super makes sense to do, right? And it worked out. Because I do the same thing again, trying to catch you doing the same, doing something else, right? Trying to pick the same defensive option you beat me for, right? So
I was scared because I was burnt out. I was just gonna wait for you.
You could, and like I could have did something more aggressive, right? If I went for a crouchy medium kick or something like that, but you know, that's not what happened here, right? So, but yeah, you see, look here, right? You're able to stuff this move because I go for a bigger button. You go for a slightly faster button, and it wins out, right? You can see like my hitbox is about to come out, right? This is 12 frame move. So, you know, it would have been here, but you're able to press your button faster, right? So this is that situation where it's like, did you press a button that made sense to press? Yes, you did. Maybe I didn't, right? And the reason for that really is I made a read that you would move back, right? And you didn't. You just walked forward and pressed, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, that's ouch, right? So I'm getting counter hit there, and you convert. Right, good slide. Alright, try to take a turn back aggressively there. You anti-air me here. Right, and I try that defensive option again, right? And this time you don't react to it, but you don't, nothing comes of it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe a little late, but worked out. Right. So here's something that I did as an adjustment to what you did earlier, right? So from this situation right here, and I feel like I should have canceled. Maybe I just didn't press it. But here, I kind of changed my timing a little bit, right? I wait a little bit longer for you to press, basically, right? Because you had been beating me earlier with a similar situation. The main difference here, though, is that the spacing is closer, right? And it's mid-screen.
Yeah.
It's really the spacing here, right? So, like, if you had gone for your button, oh, you're going for a throw here, right? So that's what counter hits you. But in the other previous situations, you were standing a little bit further away, and it was causing my button to whiff, right? So in my head, I'm like, okay, I can't really press that anymore from that scenario. But this scenario, I can, right? Like, if you had gone, if you go for anything here, and I press, right? Like, if you go for a walk-up. Now, if you did a light, it would have counter hit me, potentially. But I was trying to read your time. So, is that good?
I always forget how minus generate is on block.
Yeah, it's this is -5, right? The Well, that was this. So this was the heavy.
Oh, this wasn't generate. Yeah.
So this is a little different.
Still.
Yeah. this,
Yeah, you just didn't follow it up that time.
yeah, and a -2, right? So that's why I delay. Because if I try to take my turn back, or if I try to steal the turn, and then you jab this, I'm gonna get hit, right? So that's why I wait, right? Because if you had jabbed at this point and take your turn back aggressively, then my button doesn't come out, right? Like I block it, right? So that's why I did what I did here. Additionally, again, the spacing allowed me to do that, right? Previous
Yeah.
situations, I was knocked down. You were plus, and you were standing in a spacing where I'm trying to create some space for myself, and you were managed to whiff punish me, right? So that's why I get hit there, right? And then here, what happens, right? How do you get me? And it's the same thing you've been doing, right? So you catch me walking forward in this case. Oh, I'm actually walking back, sorry. So I'm trying to walk back, and you send the crouching medium kick, right? And then...
I'm honestly amazed I react to you standing there.
Could be, right? Like, you saw me
Recovering
move.
that's hard.
Yeah. And the super's so good, dude. Like, so much bar back. But yeah, this is good. This is good use of super there, right? So you get your bar back. Now you're in a pretty dominating position, right? It's very easy to win the... Oh, it's hard for me to come back from here, right? Go for a jump. And then the same thing that I've been doing gets killed, right? So I just wanted to highlight that this type of stuff you're doing is pretty good, right? Because doing this the way you're playing here, it shows that you're able to adjust to what I'm doing, or alternatively, you're not forcing a new scenario based on what I'm doing, if that makes sense, right? Like I've been doing the same defensive decision rather, over and over again, and you haven't changed your offensive sequencing, right? You just kind of did the same thing over and over again too, which is good, right? That's what you want to do. Like if I refuse to adapt, then there's no reason for you to adapt, right? The reason that I would have gotten away with doing what I did is if you decide to change how you were approaching that sequence, right? If you decide to walk up with a button, if you tried to walk back or whatever else, like that could be why I hit you in that scenario, right? And that's why I kept doing what I'm doing. But because you did not change what you were doing, I had to make the adjustment, and then you see that in the next two games, right? So, so anyway, so that was good, right? I think that again, you play neutral well. I think you understand spacing well, and I think you understand like how to apply and run an offense, right? So I think that was totally good, right? And I think everything there was fine. So if we take a look at this match, though, well, why not? Take a look at this. I think it's this one. So now I had to make an adjustment, right, to how you were playing offense and your neutral. So let's see what happens here. Good spin. Ooh. Take the throw there. That's good, right? So in that situation, 9 times out of 10, you want to just take the throw, because I had to spend 3 bars for a throw, right? And that's not worth it, right? And if you tech here, right, and I shimmy you off of this situation, you're gonna take way more damage, right? And worse is I'm gonna be able to get my meter back because it's likely going to be a non-drive rush combo, right? Like it's gonna be a heavy PC starter, and I don't have to spend drive rush. I could just take whatever damage you give me, right? So. Right, so you can see like in this round versus the one we looked at, if you look at the spacing I'm standing at, this is way farther, right? Way out of range.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to induce you to do something here, right? Like spin, maybe roll or whatever, because I've been throwing fireballs from this range, right? Or back a little bit, throw a fireball. So I basically made the adjustment to like, okay, I don't want to contest your buttons. I want to try to get you to commit to something, right? Right, and it kind of worked, right? If I was able to whiff punish that, it'd be cool. But like, you have to feel. I'm trying to get you to feel like you have to do something, basically.
Yeah.
That was a good whiff punish right there.
Oh man, I think I.
Yeah. So
oh no, I didn't.
Here, after a target combo from Ken, this is Ken's specific thing. If you see this on block, you can just mash DI, right? If Ken doesn't have level 3 here, anything he cancels into outside of OD OD Fireball, you'll be able to punish with a DI here, right? So
good to know.
Yeah, so I'm here, right? right? Punish counter, right? So you saw like I did the cancel, one hit landed and still punish counter. And if I do any other button there, any other special, any other cancel, I'll be able to get punished. You'll be able to punish counter me basically. Right now, there's some niche scenarios where it's like people will delay their target combo to try to get you to DI and all that stuff. But for the most part, if you see a Ken ripping target combo on block like that, you can just DI them, right? If they do OD Fireball, it'll keep the string tight and they'll be safe. So you can mash DI until you see that special, and then you can just stop mashing DI and do something else, right? Because Ken is -2 there in that scenario. Safe, but not punishable. So anyway, just something you should pay attention to and do next time you see it. Now, if he has level 3, though, don't do that, because then he'll just cancel until level 3 on the
Yeah,
level.
it's like the game with Luke with his knuckle.
Yeah. Alright, so now you're taking throws here mid-screen, which I think is mostly correct. I don't think there's any compelling reason for you not to take the throw, other than the fact that you're getting pushed to the corner. But you have meter, right? And you have the health lead. So, like, risking a shimmy here risking getting shimmied is not great.
Yeah.
Right, and you take the throw again, right, in that scenario. A driver's jab, and then you don't tech, right? So I send the stand heavy punch anyway, because it chunks your bar a little bit. But this is a good scenario for you, right?
Yeah.
Right, take half a drive bar. Right, so now I'm trying to play the game you were playing, right? Which was keep you in the corner, get you to make a mistake, and then capitalize, right? So let's see what happens. So I forced the issue. That was good, D-Rev. Right, and then what happened here, right?
Picked way too big of a button.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Like right. Medium kick, we would trade, I think.
Yeah. Is Elena's medium kicks her stand medium kick, right? You mean?
Yeah, they're both 6 frames, so we would have traded.
Yeah. But yeah, this was too big a button, right? From this spacing? I think so. Because he went for heavy. Right? And then I started setting drivers, right? So it's one small lapse there. But otherwise, if you look at the round overall, right, you were winning for most of it, right? It's just when I started doing drive rush into throw, right, you get cornered. Right, take a little damage for the overhead. There's a throw here, a PC throw. Right, and then here it's one interaction away, and then you get clipped on the counter thing, right? But ideally here, the real mistake, if you even want to call it that, really was just that one spacing issue here, right? You pressed stand heavy punch instead of your stand medium kick or whatever else, right?
So, or even stand light kick, 5 frame.
Yeah,
probably is like the most correct.
Probably, right? There's no reason for you to press anything other than a light right here, right?
Yeah, and her light kick definitely reaches.
Right. Right. So, like, that was really a button decision right there, right? Now, if you were a little bit back, right? So, from that scenario, you can't really back up, right? Because you're too close.
Yeah.
Or you can do something like this, right? Oh. Right. Or
I still need to practice DPOS.
That would be the other option, potentially, right? Is if you decide, if you, instead of taking your turn, or instead of trying to force the issue, if you wait and block instead and draw out my crouch medium kick drive rush, then you can DPOS it, right? Potentially. Of course, you have to be ready for it and all that. But that's a huge risk on my part to send the crouch medium kick in that scenario, right? Because if you had done anything else, I would have either gotten hit, or you block it and potentially do this, right? Or you just take the throw again, right? Like, you know, you have a little bit of life here. You could probably take one more throw and, you know, drive rush into throw mix up, right? Like, you can just deal with the mix up, or at least try to deal with the mix up instead, right? So, anyway. Options, right?
Yeah.
But stand heavy punch maybe wasn't the right answer. At least at that timing. If you had backed up a little bit more, or, you know, maybe there was a little bit more space, maybe it makes sense, but yeah. Alright, so here I'm trying again to get the sense of when you want to move or press, right? And this time I caught it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. again, same thing, right? So there is definitely an internal timer on your part where it's like, oh, I'm gonna press after this, and then I'm just guessing, right? Like I'm not like clairvoyant or anything like that. I'm just like, oh, I
Yeah.
think they're gonna press around this time now, and then I press, right? So nice. I've never seen that side switch. That was sick. All right. So I make a mistake here and burn out. Right, so here I'm actually trying to bait the DI, right? Because if you DI, I'm going to send level 3. So
Yeah.
better to block here, right? Because it is -5, so... Alright, so now I'm just trying to get my meter back. Finally get an anti-air. I make a mistake here and don't send the super. I don't know if it was just a lapse of judgment on my part, but this should have... I should have sent super here. Anyway. But that was a good mash for your reversal here, right? Because you might as well, right? So if I try to do anything...
I thought I was dead.
yeah, right? Because I should have sent super, right? So... Good slide. And I don't cancel that. Right, and then you take the throw here. So, interestingly, though, here, it's a little bit tougher to be like, oh, just take the throw, because you're going to die. Right? So,
Yeah.
this scenario here, you do have to make a decision. Right?
I even pressed throw from the first hit. I just didn't do it the second one.
Delayed tech as well. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a funny thing for people, too, is that they'll delay tech certain buttons and not others, which kind of makes sense, right? Like, if the people go into Jumper's throw, and then you just like, okay, well, after the plus frames, I'm just going to take the throw, right? But yeah, it's tough because you're gonna die, right? Like that's what causes that scenario. So you could make a decision there, maybe not. You know, there is a world where maybe I stay aggressive and keep pressing buttons into your block. There's also a world where you just send reversal, right? And you know, after you block the jab and just go for that, right? Like reversal into my plus frames. Either way, though, you know, you get hit by this. So that all said. One of the things you had asked about was how do I evaluate my replays, right? What do I look at? How do I find things like this, right? The first and easiest thing, and I'll open up the other replay while I'm looking at this. The first and easiest thing generally for me is to look at situations where you get hit, right? So we saw a hit. Okay, you got hit. What happened, right? What was the situation leading up to it? What's the situation afterwards, right? Like, was it because did I get hit because I made a defensive decision that was incorrect? Did I get hit in neutral? Like, what happened, right? So, like, those are the type of things where those are the first things you look for, right? Because it's easy to identify, right? Because you get hit, and you can find it that way, right? That's probably the first thing. The second thing I would do is on the tails of those getting hit, like from there, I would look at, well, what decision could I have made that changes that scenario, right? Like, was there an option that would have prevented me from getting hit potentially, or some other thing, right? Like maybe the situation doesn't happen if I don't drop my combo, for example, right? So like those types of things. It's tough because it's really easy to kind of convince yourself that you're never making the right decision because you're always like, oh, this is wrong because I'm always getting hit. But the reality of the situation is that, like, for most people when they're playing this game, you're looking at the game and there's like a set of decisions that you can make, right? Like, oh, I can walk forward, I can walk back, I can jump, press button, whatever. And for most people, they tend to stick to the same, you know, three or four options, right? Because either it's safe or ish, I suppose, right? You know, or they have discussed with it, right? For example, if I'm playing against somebody that can't anti-air, you jump at them, right? And it's like, yeah, jumping is a very high risk thing, right? Most of the time. But in the scenario I'm in right now, it's not, because my opponent has not demonstrated to me that they can anti-air, for example, right? So that type of decision making, I think, or maybe not decision making, but like identification of the situation will allow you to consider other options, right? So, you know, you start with like a more conservative set of options that you do, and then as the set goes on or as more interactions happen, you kind of build an idea of what your opponent wants to do, or at least think they're going to want to do. And then you start selecting options that beat that, right? So if I noticed that you were going for delay tech a lot, right? In one of the games, we didn't look at it, but there was a game where you delay tech like 4 times in a row, right? So like, okay, I think they're going for delay tech again. I'm going to jump, right? Or shimmy or whatever, right? And then it worked out. And it's a fairly safe option because if you had been unwilling to wake up button me, like you're not really waking up with a button or trying to challenge me with a delay, then it means I can kind of back up, right? So my offensive sequencing is kind of built around what you're showing me on defense, and then I just start picking options that make more sense, right? Meaning I think they're going to do this defensive option because they picked it before, right? Because I say it a bunch, right? Humans aren't random, really, right? Like,
Yeah.
we'll tend to do the same thing over and over again, right? Or it's like, oh, did something work? They're gonna do it again. Or did something not work? They probably won't do it again, right? And then that is where the whole like, oh, will they, won't they come in, comes into picture,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are they gonna actually do? And if
Yeah.
I decide,
Domus,
yeah, good,
I was just gonna say, Domus said recently on stream that he thinks if you can do hit confirms off random block, then you'll do like it's way better than a real person.
yeah,
Because like random, truly random block is just like, random.
yeah, 100%, right? Like if you can hit confirm that, then that means you're actually reacting to the whatever, right? The flash, the badge, whatever it is, you're actually reacting to it. But against a human, a lot of the time when people hit confirm, they're not actually like confirming the hit. They know it's going to hit because they've reacted to something previously, right? Meaning, oh, I already see your button is going to whiff, so I can send my button to hit you, right? And that's how I'm going to
Yeah.
whiff punch you. Or it's like, oh, I think I'm going to set up a scenario where if I do a jab, that's going to be plus on block because it's meaty. If they go for a button here or a tech or something else, I'm going to send my crouching medium punch, and if it counter hits, I'm going to go into a combo, right? Like I can
Yeah.
confirm at that point, and like I know I'm already primed to react to that, right? Versus like Doma said, the random computer, that's harder, right? It's because you don't
Yeah.
have it. There's no lead up to it, right? So that all said, let's take a look at this replay. And what I want to try to do here is talk about what I look for in replays, right? And I know we, been on before and we've seen the show before and all that stuff, but I think kind of diving into how I approach that might help with your own replay review. Maybe not, but let's see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you got hit here, right, on the jump in. But what happened up to that, right? What were the interactions before this? Throws a fireball. You block. Whiff. He tries to get you with a crouching. I think this is a whiff punish attempt, would be my guess here. But he doesn't cancel anything, so he just kind of sends the button, right? Right. And then why did they jump, right? So it's an interesting jump here because you haven't really committed to big buttons, right? So a lot of times jumping is a thing you do when you're expecting your opponent to commit to a big button or something you can jump, right? So like for Shotos, obviously it's like fireballs, but for characters like Elena, it's like a big button, right? You press your stand heavy kick here, and you're gonna get jumped on, right? So that's a medium kick there, or medium punch, I think, right? And then you go for that's the big button, right? This forward heavy.
Yeah.
Right. So how did this jump end up happening, though, right? So let's take a look. So look at the spacing the Ryu jumps at, right? Right. So we can kind of get a mental picture of the spacing for that, right? Now that you understand what this looks like, let's take a look at what you did in the scenarios leading up to this, right? You pressed here, right? The spacing is very similar to where the Ryu jumped, right?
Yeah.
Then you walk to press. So then he just expects you to do it again, and then he jumps on you, right? That's basically what causes that, right? So now that you identify that you get hit for that scenario, right? Like, oh, I tend to press buttons at a spacing that maybe makes sense for me, right? Maybe that made sense to press that button at that time if the Ryu didn't jump or anything, right? The Ryu obviously made a read, and it worked out for them. It is what it is. But there is definitely a pattern that can get established very quickly, right? And this Ryu went for a jump right after seeing you do it once, right? Like they saw one spacing, one situation, and jumped. At least that's what I would be thinking. Now, for all we knew, the Ryu just jumped, right? Like maybe I'm giving the opponent more credit than the credit is due. But I also think that for a lot of players, especially in like, I mean, this is not some random Ryu, right? 1650 Ryu, right? This is like, this is a good player.
Well, and I was wondering if that was Show the Fox when I was in the loading screen, to be honest.
Oh, really? The Tensho? I don't think they play Shotos, right? I think they've only ever played Aki and like Elena.
That's true. Yeah, just the show name with Church of Fox.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, right? Yeah. It would be kind of funny though. It's just like a secret burner account, but then he also kept it named Show for whatever reason. But that all said, and again, maybe we're giving the Ryu a lot of credit, but then again, maybe not, because he's, this is not a random player, right?
Yeah.
But even subconsciously, I think we identify patterns, right? And then we react to those
Mhm.
patterns. Even if it's like your opponent's patterns or even your own, right? Like if you can identify your own patterns and line them up to beat whatever your opponent's doing, that's how you can kind of win games that maybe against like anybody, right? Like if you can just kind of
Yeah.
line up what you want to do and beat them from that, that can make sense, right? But in this case here, again, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but it's like if the Ryu identified this space, you want to press. He walks into it again, you press, and then he jumps, right? Small reward here. All right, now let's see if he jumps on you again, right? I obviously haven't watched the replay, but let's see. Okay. Now you jump this time. Let's bring a jump in, right? So what happened here that allowed you to jump in, right? So the other part that I would look at potentially, and this is not as important, I think, but it is something you can consider, is like when you review and replays, look at where you land hits too, right? Like what part of your offense allows you to open them up in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you can identify the things that are working for you that are good things, then you can try to induce that from other opponents, right? So I think here you were reading Fireball would be my guess, right?
Yeah.
Based on what the opponent had done previously, right? Good spacing for a jump. He throws fireballs too close, right? Instead, he goes for like a stand medium kick, which is well out of range, right? Right. This
Maybe he wanted
is
to catch my medium punch.
yeah. Maybe you going forward, right? Something like that. Or maybe he reacted to your jump, thought it was like Elena's kick or whatever, right? Because it kind of looks like it,
Yeah.
right? Like in slow motion anyway, it kind of looks like it. Like if I did this.
Yeah.
It looks like the input's gonna go right. Similar to that. So maybe that's what happened. Who knows? But at any rate, he tries to press this button preemptively and grabs you. Conversion. Okay. Wake up DI. Right. So let's see if they do that again. I don't know if they were doing something else, but they definitely they woke up DI. Right. I guess they're assuming you'd go for some button that they could DI you from after the roll, would be my guess, but
Yeah.
Like, is there something Elena does after this Oki that can be DI'd from the roll?
I mean, the roll itself could be DI'd.
Oh, if you kept the roll
If
going.
if I roll again and press kick, which a lot like that is an Oki I had. That was an option.
Okay. So, DI opportunity, it's not a huge deal. All right. Oh.
I just reacted slow to.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So here they got opened up. What happened, right?
I went for like a delay frame trap.
Yep. And then what did they do? They went for a parry on this.
Probably a throw.
Plus. And then he just
Oh, you just walk forward.
Yeah. He just stopped blocking.
It was like just a second of not hitting the button. That was unfortunate for them.
Yeah. So they're blocking her parry. How did this hit them? What?
Weird.
They're blocking here, right? And this is not an over. This is not a low.
No.
It's strange. Like, you see me if I'm holding down back.
Yeah, blocks on down back, but not on.
Not on.
What? Am I just cheesing people?
Oh, that's weird. And if he held parry. So there's a situation for whatever reason where holding back right there doesn't block, but the down back does. I don't know.
That's insane.
I'm sure this guy's like, what the hell? I got hit. I was blocking, but that's so weird because you see it here, right? So
Yeah.
this is the neutral input, and I'm looking at the right inputs here. So we go frame by frame. He's holding back, and this, for whatever reason, hits him. It's a high. Whatever. Strange.
Uh,
Good. All right, so the Ryu's patient here, right? He doesn't really press
Yeah.
anything, he waits, right? So that's definitely a bit of information I would take, right? So be like, okay, now I think I can try to stand on these. So the other scenario, and this is like higher, if we talk about situations like this, is like, what do you do when you're advantaged, really, right? So meaning like not just like knockdown situations, but like how do you react to situations where you have maybe positional advantage, right, and all that, because you have positional advantage and health advantage here, right? Meter wise is
Yeah.
pretty even, but we're back to neutral here, right? So let's see what you do. Right, throws a fireball, tries to gain space. That was a good parry, good poke. Missed anti-air, not a huge deal. Takes the throw again. Oh, delayed parry. Oh no, maybe that's just what he uses to stand up, like back roll.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. So how did that counter hit happen? Right. So let's take a look. So it looks like he tried to jab, right?
Yeah.
And then you just
That's
kind
just
of
a setup.
meet him, right? Like, you know, because this is meaty
Yeah.
for sure. Even if you miss it by a few frames, it's still meaty, right? So, fortunate conversion. Oh, that was a good attempt. Okay. Okay, now you're in the corner. Oh, that's
That
definitely a
was,
misinput on his part, right? Driver's
yeah.
Denjin. Yeah, that's. Hmm? Okay, got him there. So I do want to look at this though. Let's take a look at what happened. So it looks like you mashed, right?
Yeah.
On drive rush here. So that can be a little bit problematic. If you're trying to do like a DPOS here, that could make sense. But if you went into anything that you would normally do from here, I guess it would have worked. That timing was good for that. Yeah. So I guess that timing would have worked for the jab had you pressed it. It wouldn't have come out if he did something. I was trying to see if there's like a delay they could do for that, but it seems like that's actually good timing for that. So I don't mind that at all. It just worked out because the Ryu did driver's Denjin for some reason. So
Yeah.
and then it worked out, right? So anyway, you're able to slide on him and then all that. So that is something that is interesting, is that when they have a sliver of health left, it really feels like you have to just kind of get a random last hit. But I think that you're better off just playing kind of normal neutral, right? Like
More
pretend they aren't.
patient.
Yeah, pretend they aren't a hit away. Pretend they are an interaction away or two interactions away. That way you don't
Yeah.
try to cheese them like that and then end up dying for it, right? Because a lot of times when people try to just like do something like that, they'll get hit and then that the round will end for them, right? So ow. Oh, he didn't get his Denjin. Alright, throws it. So I will say that I do like your usage of the medium kick and heavy kick here, right? Like that's a good spacing for that. I think maybe it's a little close, but it's hard to contest. Okay, so he mashed jab on your drive rush.
I did go for overhead, so
Yeah. Right. So if you go into drive rush here, what's Elena's like plus frame button that you normally go after drive rush here? Is it just like a stand medium kick?
yeah, stand medium kick. It is like there's no space, so you do have to delay if you want to catch something, which is really hard for me.
Right. So I'm just saying that like if people are mashing against that scenario, right, there should be ways to, if you notice people doing that, you know, you could try to come up with a way to beat that. But
Yeah, I think it's like slight delay, medium kick.
yeah, or yeah. So they get the here, meaty Hasho, right? Take the throw. This is fine, right? Like he has a meaty Hasho. You have to hold distance
Actually,
first.
well, I pressed throw there.
You press throw on the wake up.
Yeah. I think I autopilot that a lot, which is part of my problem.
Yeah, on wake up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That happens. I think that happens more often than you care to admit. Yeah,
Yeah.
just try not to, like, when you get knocked down, right? You have to kind of consider what your defensive options are, and you should kind of have an idea what you want to do before the actual wake up happens, right? Most setups in this game at this point, right, for you, especially at this rank, you're gonna see most of the common ones, right? So you'll kind of have an idea of what each character's options are out of these options, right? So like goes
Yeah.
the light Tatsu here into Meaty Hasha, right? Like this is like every Ryu does this at all levels everywhere, right? Into that meaty light Hasho, right? Because Ryu gets to do that. So autopiloting delay tech here can be kind of tough, right? Now you don't delay tech after
Yeah.
this, which is fine, right? That's what it is. But I do think that, like, again, you kind of have to consider this option before and try not to autopilot it. I think blocking should be the default when you pick. Of course, it worked out here because he didn't go for a throw or anything like that because it's a meaty Hasho setup, so it's fine. But in
Yeah.
generally speaking, like when we were playing, that's what I was taking advantage of was your autopilot tendency, right? So that's a good challenge. Mm. Ooh. Yeah, something I did notice
Yeah, I
here.
remember that.
Let's see. So is it here? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so here you're getting beat because the Ryu is able to jab out of this, right? And you're going
Yeah.
for a stand medium kick.
Yeah, I delayed too much.
Oh, is that a delay? Like if you
So
go,
if you delay, you can frame trap it. If
oh,
you don't delay at all, it's just a true block string.
yeah.
So
So
it's
yeah, that would be
manual
something.
timed.
Yeah, I would consider keeping that tight if you can, because you've been beaten twice by someone mashing against your drive rush, right? Like drive rush,
Yeah.
like button and drive rush, and they mash jab and beat you, right? So I don't know if there are other options that you can look at that would beat this, like the mash,
Mhm.
but I would look into it, right? Right, that this true block string. If you delay it a little bit, right, it seems to be that works,
Yeah, and that's what I was going for.
right?
I mean, maybe it's like crouching medium punch or something.
Yeah, that like
Yeah.
if I do that, right, this will frame trap without having to do anything, right? So like that's what I would consider adding to your arsenal, is that not just using like manually timed delays, which is still good. Like you should have that and do that because it allows you more options out of drive rush. But you should have an option out of drive rush, your common drive rush buttons that beats someone mashing jab, right, or mashing
Yeah.
something, and that should generally be your default, right? Because like if you think about it, in that scenario there, if you'd gone into that tighter block string, right, the jab doesn't come out, right, and that's what it is. You can go into this button, which will counter hit, and Elena gets a pretty good reward off a counter hit, crouch, and medium punch, right? Like you get something out of that, and it beats jab, right? Or they just block, and then you get plus frames, right? So like all those things are good. You just don't want to lose to mash, is what I'm getting at, right? Like that would be something that I would look at in my replays too. Be like, oh, how am I getting hit in terms of like, or not how I'm getting hit, but like how's my offense getting stopped, right? Because generally when you do button to drive rush, you're on offense, making them guess, right? So if you're
Yeah.
getting constantly hit out of that by an option like jab, then that means that the opponent is taking kind of a big risk because they should get counter hit out of that because they're not going to be as plus, right? They should be counter hit out of that. But they're like, okay, well, they're not going to do anything real, so I'm going to jab, right? And then that's how you get hit, right? So you want to try to pay attention to that as well and see that theme kind of come through, right? I know we've talked a lot about stuff in replays, but like this is what you kind of look at, right? So like you build it by, starting with like, oh, how do I get hit? Because that's the most obvious. How is my offense getting stopped? How's my offense even going, right? What situations am I getting hit in? Like that type of stuff. You just have to start. You have to start somewhere. But I do think that like looking at where I'm getting hit is probably the easiest thing in situations like neutral or on defense or on offense, right? How is my offense getting interrupted? And I think I would start there. Because if you clean up a lot of that stuff, you'll see a lot more subtle interactions, and that's when you can start kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. But you were saying that's kind of like the thing that prevents you from really getting any value out of replay reviews, because like you'll spend an hour talking about one niche interaction when like you got hit because you got jumped on, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway. Anyway, so that's one of the things I would look at, right? Because like if something happens more than once, then it's like, oh, maybe there's a pattern I can identify, right? Ooh. Both baited each other. Ooh. Just trying to see this last interaction here.
Yeah, I went for something that if he took his turn, it would hit him, but then he took his turn with something that would trade instead.
Yeah, went for a drive rush here. Yeah.
So if I had health, that like is favorable for me, but I did not have health.
Yeah, I think you win from there, right? Trade combo.
Yeah, because I can trade combo.
So really I think like the two main things to take away from that was that your button in the drive rush got interrupted by mash, right? You're like, oh, I need to not let that happen, right? So because if I look at this whole round, let this play out normal speed. You got hit by a couple of random donkey kicks, but that's gaming against Ryu, right? There's one driver, she gets interrupted. Two.
Yeah. I guess given that he's choosing Donkey Kick after this, I should like look to DI it.
You could, but he has level 3, right? So
oh, that's true.
If you do that, he'll just level 3 you, right? So
that's fair.
That's if he didn't have that, it's probably a little bit more of a better call out, but because he has that option, it becomes a little bit tougher. Right? I think the main way to deal with Donkey Kick randomly neutral like that is just parry it. I don't know if Elena has an 8-frame punish that reaches far enough, but if she does, I would use that. Otherwise, go for parry if you can. Because there's a bit of startup, right? The reason you get hit in some of those scenarios with Donkey Kick was just because you're standing at a space where you went for a button, and he just Donkey Kicks you, right? So
yeah.
All right. And it's the first time I went for a heavy Hasho, so okay, well, it worked out.
That's 2+, and then
yeah. So this scenario right here, this 8-frame right here, I would see if Elena has something you can deal with this, right? If you have an 8-frame punish that reaches, I would go for that. Otherwise,
I mean, I did actually pick an 8-frame move, I think.
Okay.
I just no, that's 9.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's medium punch. That's 8. I'll double check that later.
Yeah, so you can go through this and see what you can do here. But otherwise, the other way to deal with this is just parry, right? So, like you see from here, and you just kind of, right, you see the wind up, and you try to perfect parry it, right? So that would be kind of the universal way to deal with that, right? Because again, there's a startup, it's reactable, so you just go for that.
Yeah.
And hope for the best. Right, and if at worst you block it, get chunked a little bit, but you're out of range, right? So anyway, right, so this jump, right, we saw that spacing in game 1 a little bit, right, where there's a spacing he likes to jump at. So pattern recognition, again, kind of important. So if you had recognized that the Ryu likes to make that read, and again, this is really, I say this like it's like so easy, but in reality, we're making a decision based off like 1 or 2 data points randomly, right?
Yeah.
But if you look right here, you could induce the Ryu to jump, right? Like you just walk forward, walk back, the Ryu jumps, and
In
it's
my
yeah.
in my BLKO set, I actually had one where that happened. I was losing to someone the first couple rounds because they kept jumping right when I was medium punching.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, like, after that, every time I wanted to press medium punch, I just didn't look for a jump.
Yep. And then they jump, right? Like,
Yeah.
again, people aren't random. They say, oh, this jump in worked once and I got a shit ton of damage for it. At worst, I'm going to DP. Let me try it again, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. So then what happens, right? And this is more later on, is that now the Ryu has to consider jumping or not. And that's when you can just walk up and button them, right? Because like
Yeah.
now they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to jump. I don't know if I don't want to jump. And then that's when that walk up medium becomes good, right? But at the same time, if the Ryu makes the read and it's correct, this is what happens, right? And good on the Ryu, I guess, for going for that. But for on your part, if you notice this happening, then you have an alarm in your head should be like, okay, well, I've gotten hit by the same thing twice. So
Yeah.
what is causing that to happen? Now, this is really difficult to do in game, right? Like while you're playing the game, it's really hard to do. But if you look at what I was talking about, if you watch this VOD back and you watch our set, you see I'm talking about that. I'm talking about like, oh, I have to make an adjustment now to this that's happening to me over and over again because Schmiddy's not changing what they're doing, right? So now I have to adjust what I'm doing, right? I can't expect them to change what they're doing. So, right? Yeah, I can't press after the OD.
Yeah, I just in the moment forgot.
Yeah. It's easy, right? And there is something to be said about pressing while you're minus, right? Like some players really, really like getting greedy in that scenario because they know you're not going to press no, right? Because you're supposed to frame date or whatever. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna take my turn or continue my turn with a bigger button that has a big gap, right? So if you're a jab, you jabbed here, right? So -3 is a little tougher, but like if he had gone for like something like this, like a stand heavy punch, right? It counter hits you, right? Or you counter hit that. If he goes for a huge button, right? He didn't, but I mean, some players will do that, right? Where it's like, oh, I know they're not going to press, so I'm going to press a big button, and then they get counter hit out of their plus frames, then post on Twitter saltily that this game is for scrubs, right? Because people are pressing. But in reality, it's because you made a calculated risk that this person was going to be greedy with their button, right? So at least that's the hope when you press when you're minus, right? There is a time and place for it. I do think that this Ryu so far hasn't really shown that they want to be greedy with their buttons, so you do kind of have to be careful, right? Now, of course, for all, and like you're saying, you just kind of forgot the moment is what it is. But I do think that those situations, like the decision making that goes into that, can help you understand the situation better, right? Like, oh, I'm +3 here. And then from there, you can start identifying patterns, right, from your opponent, where it's like, okay, they're like these situations, I know that they're plus in. How do they take advantage of those plus frames? Do they walk up throw? Do they throw? Do they back up? Do they backdash? Do they bait something? Like, what do they do? And then from there, you can kind of make a defensive decision to try to at least not lose to their Oki, right? Like, maybe you don't win outright, but at least you won't get opened up.
Yeah.
So he misses his conversion, and then it gets you a donkey kick anyway, because that's Ryu life, right? Right. Alright, now he's just trying to bully you in the corner, right? Oh, that was good. Oh.
I missed the,
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was the moment I talked about. I don't know what I hit.
Yeah, something
like
happened.
Why I hit the either.
Yeah. Happens. Right? Happens. I mean, this is clearly an anti-air situation, but works out for them. Alright. Now you're in a kind of a precarious scenario, right? Low meter, low health. Ryu has a bunch of stuff he can do to you, right? Throw a fireball, whatever.
I just went for you.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
the
he would
threw a
start.
fireball here, right?
Yeah, it would have worked.
Would have worked.
Definitely was a risky play, though.
Yeah. So, big risk, but the reward would have been pretty good, right? Yeah. So, I don't mind the risk like that, right? Like, if you want to make that decision and go for it, I don't mind that, right? If you made a read, I don't mind that, right? The game state maybe said that wasn't like the higher percentage play, but you don't always have to live in the high percentage world, right? You can take risks like that, and sometimes it works out, right? If you decide to throw a fireball, because they have been kind of active in that spacing with fireballs, where they'll throw one, so it wasn't like completely out of left field, but it was something that was high risk, right? So that all said, if you look at the round itself, right, overall, let's play out. There are really a few situations, I think, where a lot of it was just kind of the smaller situations where you kind of got hit by a small combo, right? The restart Donkey King, because you didn't really have a way to deal with that. They jump at you once, they get a conversion. Open up here. Didn't quite work out for them, but they got you anyway. This was like their biggest amount of damage, right? Like all the other stuff that they did were kind of straight hits and small combos. They do one combo for 5,000 damage, and then they wait, and then you make a mistake here, right? Well, you made a read that didn't quite work out. I don't want to call it a mistake necessarily, but it is what it is. That said, like again, I don't think you were playing particularly poorly, right? There was just one or two situations where maybe there was a lapse in judgment, or in the case of the DI coming out randomly, something didn't quite work out the way it was supposed to. But you saw that I think you were matched up against this guy pretty well, right? It's just that Ryu has that damage output that he was able to do and landed on you, right? You gave an opportunity for that and all that. So again, I think you play neutral well. I think you have a good sense of spacing that Elena has, and again, I think you have a good sense of spacing that your opponents have, right? If for you, I think right now the main thing is identifying the spacings where you autopilot, or situations where you autopilot. Let me put it that way. Not just spacings, but situations in general, right? When do I autopilot delay tech? When do I autopilot my stand medium kick? When do I autopilot XYZ, whatever option, right? That's what I would look at in your replays, right? Because you know what you were doing when you were playing, right? You know what your thoughts were at that point, right? So if you can identify the scenarios, like identify scenarios where you got hit, where your defense got opened up, where your offense got interrupted, and then identify, was that caused by an autopilot tendency or not, or if there was an autopilot tendency that led up to that situation, right? I think that would be the main two things I would look for you in particular, right? Because when your offense is flowing, right, and you're able to get the hits, like you ran me over, right? I couldn't defend it properly. I couldn't like get out of the situation, and then you just killed me, right? But the situations where you lost was because I exploited your autopilot, or rather, I put you in a situation where you felt like you had to do XYZ thing. Your autopilot took over, and then I blew you up for it, right? Like you delay teched a bunch, you went for certain buttons, certain spacings a bunch, right? Like that type of thing. So really, I think that's what it is for you right now. And it's kind of unfortunate because, well, I don't want to say unfortunate, but I think it's a very common thing where you put in a lot of work to be good in those scenarios, right? You put a lot of work into practicing the scenarios, practicing the situations, identifying spacing, working with other people, playing a bunch of games with high level players, and you work really hard on getting that autopilot to work really well, right? Now the problem is that when that autopilot gets exploited, you get hit, right? And that's where I think like you have to identify, okay, my autopilot is not quite, or my layer, I don't want to necessarily call it autopilot, knows what it is, but like my default game plan is getting opened up or hit. My default defensive option is getting opened up, right? That's what I would think about more. And it's really hard. It's one of the hardest things to do, right? And I guess I'll tell the story is because like for me, we'll talk about a slump, right? You were kind of asking about how to deal with that. So a while back, and I think I streamed this actually, but a while back I went from like, so I was like 1650 or something, trying to break 1700, and went all the way down to like 14 or 1300, right? Like I dropped like several hundred MR for whatever reason, right? And the next stream I did, I was like, you know what? I'm going to only use one or two tools, right? Now I was playing Ken. I'm playing Ken, so obviously there's really strong neutral button, stand heavy punch you can use, right, and all that. But like I tried to reduce the tool set that I was going for, right? Like I basically said, in neutral, I'm going to win with this button. I'm not going to rely on crouching medium kick as much, because that's really, I think, one of the big things for me at the time was that I was really relying on Crouch Immune Kick Drive Rush to open things up, right? Start my offense and all that stuff, right? And it's really good for Ken, so that's why it works. But kind of similar to what's happening for you now is that like I would lose a lot of games and people could deal with that, right? Either I get derevved, DPOS, or like my Crouch Immune Kick gets whiff punish or whatever, right? Because my offense was sort of one dimensional in that way. So I
Yeah.
decided that I was going to cut back on the amount of tools that I was using and focus solely on like winning neutral interactions with one button. Right. And now what I would do is I would win a neutral interaction, convert that into a combo, right? Maybe that's driver's combo, whatever. And then I wouldn't take Oki. So I would knock them down and then I would back up to under the timer and play neutral again, right? Like do that. And what I found after a while was that like I didn't necessarily need to rely on the tools that I had built in my head, like oh the run Tatsu Oki and like looping offense and all that stuff. Like I could just as easily do well, at least it took a bit, but at least I could just either do well doing that other offensive style instead, right? And what I
Yeah.
noticed was that when I had simplified my offense to I'm going to play this neutral and I'm not going to take Oki. I'm not going to worry about setups, not going to worry about any of that, but I just want to focus on neutral. What I realized was I was able to identify better what my opponent was doing, right? Because I was less focused on me hitting my setup and more focused on what my opponent was doing, right? So like I turned off the autopilot for Oki and all that stuff, even though you can still kind of figure out what your opponent's doing from there. But there is something to be said about backing up and you're seeing your opponent just whiff a delayed jab and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what they're gonna do. Okay, and then now you can start, playing around that, right? So I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if that works for everybody. It worked for me because it kind of got my mind off of the thing that was failing me, if you want to put it that way. Like I felt really bad because the tool that had gotten me to master, the tool that got me to 1650, the tool that was supposed to get me 1700, wasn't working. So I felt terrible. I'm like, oh man, all these people are talking about how carried Ken is and how easy it is and blah blah blah, and I can't do it, right? And I'm like, well, the
Yeah.
reality of the situation was that I was making my offense, and so I was building my offense in such a way that I didn't have a way to deal with somebody dealing with my, with my offense right at the time. So if someone could beat me at that game, at that part of that instance of the game, then they could beat me the whole way, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't really have any other way to deal with someone that could do that, right? Like I'm not able to adapt my game plan or gameplay to beat that, right? And
Yeah.
that was what really the big part of the slump for me was that again the thing that I've been doing that's been working is no longer working, right? Like this is not, and you feel bad because it's like, well, am I doing something wrong? Like what's going on here? The reality is that like you're playing better opponents, you're playing more opponents. People have been playing against Elena for a while, and some of those tools have been understood now, right? It's like, oh, now there's a proper way to play against that tool set, and you're running into people that can do that. So it was tough because, well, the part that made it easy for me at the time was that I dropped a shit ton of MR before that happened, so I no longer cared about win rates or anything like that. I was just like, I'm just gonna do this, whatever happens happens, right?
Yeah.
So that's what helped with that, right? Obviously, if you try to adopt that, say you're like 7 MR away from your goal or whatever, and you do that, you're gonna drop a ton of MR because you're gonna lose a lot of games because you don't have all the tools that you normally use, right? Like you're gonna lose a lot of games doing that. So that said, if that's something you want to try, that is something you can consider, right? Pick one or two tools for Elena that you know is good and works well in neutral. Focus on getting conversions off of that, and then don't wallow with Oki. Instead, pay attention to what your opponent does on defense, right? Some opponents will just autopilot their defense, right? Like, and I think you kind of did this too, was that like I wasn't even anywhere close to you. I just kind of moved a little bit and you teched, right? Like you had already
Yeah.
decided that you're gonna tech. So no matter what I did, you were gonna tech, right? And there's a lot of people who play like that, where it's like they're not, and maybe that's more correct than not, but they've already decided what defensive options they're gonna do, so they're just guessing, right? Which makes sense, right? Because if you try to react to stuff, that's how you get hit. So making a defensive decision and then seeing it play out, like gives you some confidence. Like, okay, I know that this player, or I've seen this player choose this option. Can I get them to do it again? Can I get a situation where they're going to do it again? Or
Yeah.
if the opponent seems to be rotating, can I create a scenario where the next one they'll try that, or what do I think you can do next, basically, right? So like that's how I would approach that. And then hopefully one or two light bulbs to go off in your head, like, oh, maybe this tool that I'm using for Elena, maybe this is better in these scenarios. Or, and this is the other thing, is that you may break your autopilot as well, right? Because you're no longer doing the thing over and over again that has been giving you success. Now it's like, oh, I have to think about what I'm doing, and that can help get out of that funk of like, oh, I'm only ever going to do crouching mid kick drive rush. I know Elena doesn't have that, but you know what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I would try. Whether or not it works for you, can't speak to it, but you know, if you were to ask me, you know, Juzzy on the street, like how do you get out of this situation? That's what I tell people is that. So yeah. Otherwise, I think your gameplay is really good. Honestly, like neutral is good. Offensive sequencing is good. It's just the defensive decision making, some autopilot and neutral. But otherwise, like if you can get through those things, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like the version of that for me, just like going based on the situation we're talking about, is like just take every throw, literally every throw,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. Or alternatively, if you really want to tech, reversal instead.
Yeah.
Right. So like so and it's funny because for whatever reason, and this happens to people, a delay tech is considered less risky than a reversal, right? And it's like in my head I'm like, why? Because you're taking the same amount of risk, which is eating a full punish counter heavy starter combo, right? It's the same amount of risk. But the reward is so much less. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
reversal, you get some space back, you deal some damage, and you're back in the game, right? And at least you're standing back up. Delay tech, you know, if it works out and they go for meaty throw or a meaty button, you block it or you tech, great. But the reward is like a little bit of bar if you tech something, or you just block it out, right? That's like, but the risk again
Yeah.
is you eat a full combo. So, and maybe that's fair enough, but like in your head you should be thinking, well, if I want to delay tech, I want a reversal. If I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to reversal instead. And then your brain will be like, okay, well, wait, is that right worth the risk or not? And then you can decide, right? Because again, the reversal and the delay tech lose to the same things, but they also beat the same things. So if you're going to take the same risk, like why not, right? In that sense. Other than of course you lose 2 bars and all that stuff, and potentially like other combos that happen because Elena's in the air, whatever. The point is that like if you in your head go, okay, I'm going to either block or reversal, you'll start thinking about the risk reward in that way and be like, okay, maybe I'm going to block instead of delay tech, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully, that's what I do, because you don't want to always represent block either, right? Because if you're always blocking, taking every throw, then I'll throw loop you until you die, right? And like that's fine. So you need to make a decision on at some point if you want to represent something else or not, right? So yeah, immediate change. Maybe don't delay tech as often. Choose block a little more. Be the one thing. But the other stuff that we talked about, it's gonna take a while to get through, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is the blessing and curse, right? It's a blessing because you're at the level where this is now the things you need to work on. But again, it's a curse because now you're at the level of these are things you have to work on, right? So it doesn't. There's no like, oh, just
Yeah.
anti-air better, right? Oh, there's no stop walking backwards anymore. Like the fixes are not as easy as they used to be. So that said, see you join. So you want to run it back, run the first 3 if you got time?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, let me close your stream so I don't hear double.
Yeah. Also, Schmiddy, you're one of the only people that take the player 2 slot. I always take player 2. And it threw me off the other day. I was like, I think we had played, right? Or whatever it was. I was like, what the hell? Why player 2?
It's your room.
Oh, that with punishes from downtown. Nice.
Oops.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Confirm or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh. Oh, come on.
You have to use 5 frames or less.
That's lame. I guess I got to jab that, huh? Uh-oh. Oh,
I'm just gonna spend it.
I missed my DP, man. I think it's correct though, honestly. Although if you had a cash out there that you could have
Yeah.
done to like level 2, it probably would have been better, but it's fine. Oh, nice.
Oops.
Ah! Uh-oh. Ah! Man.
Oh.
Oh, the spaghetti. Man, I can't believe I dropped that twice. Oh. Oh, that was a nice read.
Nice.
The one time you tech.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk on my part, but I was gonna die, right? So
Yeah.
oh.
I went for a read.
Do it again? Oh, okay. That's a good parry though. Oh, I didn't shimmy.
That was.
Oh. Oh. Oh, my button to come out. Oh, nice. Oh.
That was.
Yeah,
My
that
level
was
2.
a little too ambitious on the DI there. I think you could have waited a second and waited for my
Yeah.
jump.
See what you do.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh,
Nice.
the whiff. So, I think you're doing a better job of like mixing up defensive options there. Like I really had to think hard. I couldn't just keep doing the same thing over to try to open you up, right? And you saw how much
Yeah.
better it was for you defensively. I know it didn't quite work out, but like you had more opportunities to come back, is what I mean, right? You weren't just taking 3,000
Yeah.
damage every time you teched, right? So, but yeah, I mean, you still have to tech every so often. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think that like if you're thinking about the game this way a little bit more, maybe that changes how you approach your, maybe breaks your autopilot a little bit, and that can help, right? Because the more you are considering other options and the less you're kind of autopiloting situations where you get hit a lot, right? I mean, if you're autopiloting something that's working, don't stop. But like if you autopilot defensively and you get hit a lot, that's when you should consider like maybe I do something else, right? But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
So cool, man. I think that's it, man. I think you're doing really well, honestly. Like I know you've been pretty active in the game and playing a bunch of those high level guys out in Fire Rise and stuff. So I think you're doing pretty well. Again, I think if you were able to navigate those defensive situations, and you saw like what happened was like I had to change all my offensive sequencing to get around what you were doing, right? And force you to into other situations and other stuff, right? And that's what you want, right? You want me as the offensive player to have to consider my options, and then you are able to get out of those situations, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, otherwise offensively I think you do fine. I think you're able to run people over, and I think you sequence well, and I think you play neutral pretty well, right? The main difference here in that last set is I kind of made an adjustment to like your button timing, but I've been trying to do that to you the previous set anyway, right? So that's kind of what happened there. But that can be the next show. Next time you're on, we can look at
Yeah.
that. But yeah, otherwise that's what I would do. And then for replay review, honestly, like talk about things we talked about, right? Was just like identifying when you get hit, identifying when your offense gets stopped, and identifying when your defense gets opened up, right? And then the situations leading up to that point, and then seeing if like there's something else you could have done would be what I would do. That way you kind of identify, oh, maybe I was autopiloting there, or maybe that decision, there could have been something else I could have done, right? And then next time you see it, you can try that and see if that works for you or not. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, worth a try, right? Like at worst you keep doing what you're doing, and then you kind of keep in the same slump, and you're like, oh well, what do I do, right? But changing it up, might help a lot for that. And then again, like we talked about for the slump thing, just change the tool setup, change up what you're doing on offense, try to do something else that you don't necessarily do normally on offense, right? And see if that allows you to do other things, right? Maybe it opens up opens some other avenues up for you to explore, right? For Elena, because I know Elena's pretty strong. Like if you do a lot of the flowchart offense for her, it's really easy to run people over, right? Like I saw it, right? You do the same thing for me. I get ran over. So if you were able to kind of change that up, expand the kind of things you do, then you can have more options to pick from, and then maybe your autopilot for that is not as like you don't fall into the same habits over and over again, so that when you have someone that is able to deal with your kind of first layer of offense, you have something to fall back on to force them to do something else too. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Cool, man. Any other questions or comments or concerns before we wrap up?
No, I mean, yeah, thank you so much. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. So yeah, we'll talk soon. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Schmiddy is a fantastic player. If you want to play him or me, join Fight Rise. I run this through Fight Rise Discord. So Fight Rise is a fighting community focused on getting players into they're focused on fighting games, SF6 specifically, right? They run lobby nights, I have my spiel mixed up. They run bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series every Tuesday. It's basically a 7-round Swiss. There's a upper and lower bracket, so depending on what MR you are at, they kind of rank separate where you're at. 7-round Swiss is a good way to get a lot of games with a lot of competitive folks in a sort of tournament fashion, right? Because it is a tournament. They also do community showcase events through their Urge to Fight series, Discord in the chat, where they showcase community members who have been doing well. I do commentary for them every once in a while, right? They also do a year-end fundraiser. Lately, they've been working with the Raiden Foundation, so they do fundraising for that organization, looking at rare genetic diseases. If something that interests you, take a look at the Fight Rise Discord. You can see links to all of the events I'm talking about. The other thing, and Schmiddy kind of alluded to this, was Big League KO, BLKO. So Big League KO is a league format, is basically a 8-person round robin pool where every match is a 1st to 5. So you play 7 matches over the course of 4 weeks, so 2 matches a week, with one the last week being the last match plus your makeup week. If you do well in pools, there's a postseason, so you get to play in like a tournament bracket, and then the finals are normally streamed on an Urstify stream, so you can see me do commentary for that, or other anyone else of the talent pool that we have to do commentary. It's a very popular league format. It is a bit of a more of a commitment, but you know it's a lot of fun. You get longer sets with a lot of good players. It's good. It's good practice for that. Again, very popular. People love it. People talk about it all the time. It's a lot of, it's a good time. If you want a training session like this for yourself from me, take a look at the Fire Eyes Discord under the level up section. There's a channel called Sit Down Shut Up. Take a look at the pinned posts. You can see how to join and queue up for a session for yourself. Also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is a fighting community focused on getting new players in the game. They do lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday is their primary newbie night. So if you are new to the game and want to get into the game, come out on Wednesday. They do lobby nights in Battle Hub. There's a voice chat and people hang out, have fun. You meet a lot of people, and that's really how you meet folks that will be your future training partners. So if you meet some folks that are around your level, or maybe even not, maybe some senior or higher level folks, will you can play with them, right? So if you want to get game, they also do NFC also hosts monthlies. I think their monthly is coming up tomorrow. I'm not sure if you can still sign up for that, but if you can, please do. And they also used to do modern only tournaments as well. So if you're a modern warrior looking for other modern warriors to fight amongst yourselves to figure out who the best modern warrior is, take a look there. I don't remember all of the timings for all their events, so take a look at the discords if any of these interest you, and take a look at the calendar and see when they are. So thanks again for watching, guys. I know I don't always respond to chat, so appreciate you guys chiming in, watching the stream, your follows, your likes, all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.